to the night of Sunday, January 31st. When did you get the call that Nancy was missing?
My team had notified me of a missing person. Search and rescue was searching the area.
And we begin tonight with breaking news. The Pima County Sheriff's Department is looking for a missing woman tonight. Good evening.
And there were some concerns with what they were seeing at the scene.
Skyline is where we are.
Investigators confirmed the missing woman was Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie, a name recognized across the country and deeply rooted in the Tucson community.
I don't even know that I knew it was the Guthrie family until probably closer to 6, 7 o'clock that evening.
Miss Guthrie is the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie.
Within hours, the investigation was expanding, with the eyes of the nation watching.
The FBI was plugged in that Sunday. Monday morning, we got a quick briefing. They had processed the scene, and we knew we needed some help.
After the public appeal,
we do in fact have a crime scene, that we do in fact have a crime.
Area right outside of Nancy Guthrie's house.
Came press conferences, drawing hundreds of reporters.
We are aware of a ransom letter that was sent to the local media.
A tip hotline was created.
I thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom.
Billboards went up in several states, but the decision to clear the crime scene, followed by renewed searches in the weeks after, has drawn criticism.
A major focus, all of a sudden, on the house again.
Though Sheriff Chris Nanos says he stands by the work of his investigators.
Sheriff, looking back at this past month in the investigation, did it go the way you wanted it to go?
Yes, absolutely. Here's the thing. I think somebody said, well, Sheriff, did you regret this? Look, I have no regrets about my team and their efforts. I don't regret we let the crime scene go too soon or any of that. That's just silly.
New FBI recovered.
Then 10 days later, the biggest break in the case, doorbell video released showing a suspect
with what appears to be a gun at Nancy Guthrie's home the night of her disappearance.
Today, it remains one of the key pieces of evidence investigators are still leaning on. But it's not the only evidence detectives are analyzing.
Cell phone data, pings, cameras. I mean, how much are you guys leaning into that information, that evidence?
It could be a cell tower dump, could be analyzing the cell phone.
So there is still digital evidence that you guys are waiting on to receive?
Well, we're analyzing all the time, yes.
The sheriff says investigators have gathered a lot of information. They're just not able to share much of it publicly right now.
If you could talk directly to the person who took Nancy, what is your message?
Give her up. Let her go. Just let her go. Just take her to a clinic, a hospital. Drop her off. Just let her go.
And you've seen these photos before. This is the person that Sheriff Nanos is referring to. The FBI released these stills obtained from Nancy's Ring camera of a masked suspect at her front door. They believe this individual is a man between 5'9" and 5'10". You can see he's wearing gloves and a ski mask, carrying a black Ozark Trail hiker pack, and has what appears to be a gun on his waistband. Take another good look at these shots. If you have any information, reach out immediately to 1-800-CALL-FBI.
For weeks now, you've heard about the evidence, the tips, and the rewards, all focused on finding Nancy. But we don't think you've heard enough about who Nancy Guthrie is. News 4 Tucson's Andrew Capasso sat down with some of the people who worked with Nancy and want you to know the impact she's had in our community.
A big part of Nancy Guthrie's life in southern Arizona is anchored right here at the University of Arizona. From literally helping save thousands of lives over the decades to helping students in the communication industry.
I always think about Nancy as this quiet leader who was so effective without ever working at it. That's just the way she is.
Former Professor Jacqueline Sharkey worked with Nancy for decades.
She always has had superb communication skills, and she used those to help lead a couple of very important public health and education initiatives that we worked on together.
One project the two worked on, saving the Poison Information Center at the U of A, the place on the chopping block due to budget cuts. Sharkey says Guthrie got right to work.
Gathered more than 20,000 signatures that were delivered to the governor, and the Poison Center was saved.
She says while the work was not easy.
This is in the pre-internet days. So we're talking about brochures and fact sheets and and petitions that a small group of people took all over the state.
The impact of that work continues today.
Thousands of Arizonans have benefited from the Poison Center in the 30 years since Nancy had a major role in leading it.
That impact is something Dave Coulier says he's also experienced. He worked with Nancy on the School of Journalism's Advisory Council.
As a huge champion of journalism and the University of Arizona, she was looking out for everybody, all the graduates of the program, and frankly, of the whole university.
He says Guthrie put passion into every project she touched.
There are a lot of people who wanted to get involved for resume builders or certain ego trips and that sort of thing, but not Nancy. She had a quiet power. I mean, she wasn't the loud, talkative person in the room. She was the thoughtful person who provided input when it was needed.
Now, as the tribute to Guthrie grows outside her home, Sharkey says she is not surprised.
It's all a sign of how much Nancy means to us and the enormous impact she had on the community and on our lives.
An impact she says everyone from her Catalina Foothills neighborhood to the U of A and beyond can all learn from.
She's a role model for how to live a life filled with meaning.
And one other thing Sharkey told me, for Nancy, she says it has never been about the credit, but always about the people. Sharkey says that selflessness is precisely why Nancy's impact is felt so deeply across Tucson today. Reporting at the University of Arizona, I'm Andrew Capasso, News 4 Tucson.
And after hearing that story, it is easy to understand why Nancy's sudden disappearance sent shockwaves through our community.
3 days after she went missing, Nancy's daughter, Savannah, turned to social media asking everyone to pray. So that's just what Tucson did.
Most merciful God, we pray for our sister Nancy.
We needed a place to come together, and so a vigil popped into my head, and I know both Nancy and Savannah are very faithful, and I just feel like even if people don't pray, I feel like people want to do something, and if they can come together and share hugs and share stories, then that might make it a little easier.
Sally Shamrell helped organize the vigil. She says she met Nancy through her daughter, Savannah Guthrie, when the two were both young journalists at KVOA 30 years ago.
Welcome all of you who have come from the wider community for this vigil, for this time of prayer for Nancy.
Lupita Murillo is another former colleague who wanted to do something to send a message to the family that they weren't alone, and coming together was the way to do it.
Holding a vigil will make us feel like we're doing something positive. We're rallying around the family. We're asking God to please bring Nancy home.
Earlier in the week, Savannah had asked her social media followers to please pray.
We believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers.
And that's exactly what hundreds did at St. Philip's Church that night. They came from all over, many not knowing what to say, but others speaking out, praying for Nancy's return.
God is everything. I prayed for Nancy last night, and I assured her she's got this, she can do it, and we're behind her.
The church's pews filled with people holding candles, there to support the family and to pray for Nancy's return. Some who had never met her, and others who had known the 84-year-old for decades.
It's nice to show that Tucsonans are going to come out and support someone that the community loves.
And those two words, please pray, the plea sent out from Savannah Guthrie, certainly answered that night. Now, though, as the weeks have gone by, the faith shared that night and since remains as strong as ever. As Tucson continued their prayers, investigators continued their work to find Nancy. Sources say tips and cell phone pings led to raids conducted in both Rio Rico and Tucson. But they didn't give them the break they were hoping for. The first one, the night of February 10th, a man was detained in Rio Rico and questioned by investigators. Then on February 13th, police detained and questioned 3 people following a law enforcement operation near First Avenue and Orange Grove in the Shadow Hills neighborhood. No arrests were made in either operation. Evidence analysis in the Guthrie case has also proven to be futile so far. On February 11th, the first black glove was found in a field about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. On the 17th, the DNA was entered into a national database, CODIS, but came back with no matches. Then on March 4th, the DNA was traced to a restaurant worker who was not connected to the case. While that didn't bring any answers, detectives are still hoping surveillance video will. They're concentrating on this zone you see right here, bound by Campbell Avenue, Ina Road, La Cholla Boulevard, and River Road. If you live in that area and have video that shows anything out of the ordinary, you can find a link to share it with investigators on our website at kvoa.com/Nancy Guthrie. And as investigators continue to work the case, outside Nancy's home, a shrine in her honor continued to grow. It started with a simple sign, "Dear Guthrie family, your neighbors stand with you." And over the next few days, the messages of hope and prayer continue to grow, along with candles and flowers. Among the chaos in front of the home and up and down the neighborhood street, the signs and other items, a constant reminder of the reason for it all.
We're praying to God that she is going to be returned to her family and she is safe and she's well. That is God's wishes, to have her return to her family back to Tucson.
Neighbors enduring the interruption in their daily lives in their once quiet Foothills neighborhood. Many stopping by now to show their support.
I just came to bring some flowers in support of Nancy and the Guthrie family, to show that we're coming together as a community.
But others coming from beyond Tucson to bring their message of hope for Nancy's return.
I live in Arizona, Mesa, and I came down to pay my respects. I'm still praying for Nancy's safe return.
All of those heartfelt messages heard and felt deeply by the Guthrie family. Savannah and her sister Annie, along with her husband Tommaso Cioni, returning to the neighborhood on March 2nd to meet with neighbors to thank them for their continued love and support throughout the search for Nancy. The 3 stopping by what has become a street-side shrine, representing the many praying for Nancy's return. Savannah and her sister carrying yellow flowers, overcome with emotion as they looked at the hundreds of messages and tributes left behind to honor their mom. That neighborhood display remains a reminder of the never-ending support the Tucson community and people around the world have for Nancy Guthrie. And what investigators and the Guthrie family believe is that your tips are critical to finding Nancy. Tens of thousands of tips have already poured in from across the country, but we're still looking for that one clue that will break this case. The reward for Nancy Guthrie's return now tops $1 million. Much of that came from her family, but Michael Hoopy, a lawyer from Wisconsin, added $100,000 of his own money. The FBI says they alone have received more than 25,000 tips, and at last report, 88 Crime reports receiving nearly 2,600 tips. Both are looking for more help to solve this case, and here are those tip lines again.
And at the heart of Nancy's disappearance is her family and her close friends. The heartbreak and desperation they are living through right now is felt in every message and video they posted to social media. They expected the national media to swarm Tucson once word got out about Nancy's case, but what came with it was a destructive group of profiteers, and the collateral damage has been far-reaching.
Call the cops on you and get you cited. Get out of here.
For 6 weeks, Nancy's neighbors witnessed firsthand the media taking over their neighborhood.
At members of the media, hundreds of people. I tell you, it keeps growing out here.
Journalists reporting on the daily updates of the case, but soon came a different group of people causing chaos in our town. From pizza deliveries to a crime scene to people showing up for photo shoots outside of Nancy's home. People even asking to sit at the same table the Guthrie family sat at when they were together at a restaurant last fall. Local leaders say these scenarios didn't just cross the line, it may have made things worse.
I wish that there were, we stopped having these
sort of people that have a following on media platforms acting as if they are investigators. I do think that it is hurting the investigation.
Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva says in at least one case, a name shared during a live stream led to threats.
He was threatened, his family was threatened because they heard by a reliable source.
Then came the false accusations directed at members of the Guthrie family and friends, blatantly accusing some of them of being involved in Nancy's disappearance in the midst of their most intense time of grief.
People that, in my view, have taken sort of a shameless, shot across the bow of decency for this community, for those families.
These kinds of erroneous reports, comments, and posts have damaged reputations and are ruining the lives of innocent people. One of them, local band member and family friend of the Guthries, Dominic Evans, told the New York Times his life has been turned upside down after being linked to the case.
The typical consequence for a journalist that has defamed someone is the news station or newspaper gets sued. If they lose, an insurance company for that journalist is going to have to pay a judgment. You can't successfully sue YouTube itself or Facebook itself because there's federal law that protects that platform.
With both platforms and those creating content on them hard to hold accountable, the damage their content may cause can be immediate and lasting.
Horrifically damaging to people that are falsely accused, for example. Why? Well, in the modern age, you now have a scarlet digital letter, right? There may be vigilante justice, people giving out your home address, your phone number, your loss of privacy.
And unfortunately, these reckless reports continue to this day. They have devastated the Guthrie family and their friends, adding to their pain.
Even in the midst of all of this, there have been moments of light, though. One of them, a call to our newsroom from a woman compelled to help. News 4 Tucson's Robbie Reynolds joins us now with that story.
It all started with one yellow ribbon, and then dozens more, handmade and sent to Tucson, the woman who made them, calling them ribbons of hope. And they're already being worn by employees here at El Charro, where Nancy Guthrie had lunch with her daughters just 5 months ago. Yellow ribbons, a symbol of hope.
I was saying we just hope that it brings awareness to the public, to just as media slows down, to remember to keep a watchful eye and ear out, and just to remember that she's still missing.
For Melanie, it's a labor of love. She and her friend Regina started making ribbons in 2003 when Lacey Peterson, a pregnant California mom, went missing. They made more when Natalie Holloway disappeared, and for others, until it became too much for two people.
I've been praying through every ribbon I make for answers.
Compelled by Nancy's story, Melanie started making ribbons again, and she sent the first batch to us here at the station. Word of the ribbons coming to Tucson touched Ray Flores, the president of Flores Concepts and C. Charro. We gave his restaurant family the first shipment. This is the first time Flores has spoken publicly since Nancy's disappearance.
When we realized it wasn't just a simple lost person issue, the severity of it really kind of hit home because she had just been here a couple months before with Savannah filming an episode for the Today Show.
While he didn't know Nancy personally, Flores says he saw the closeness between her and her girls in his restaurant the day of the shoot.
You could tell they were a very loving family, and whenever you have that kind of pain hit, it does. It affects you because you can feel it in your own community, in your own heart.
For his employees, Ray says wearing Melanie's ribbons offer hope and remind us that Nancy is still out there, along with others that are missing. He believes as a community we can all help by remaining vigilant, and he wants to emphasize that for both English and Spanish speakers.
If you see something, say something. Si ves algo, diga algo.
Omar works at El Charro and was there when the Guthries visited in October. He and other El Charro workers support the ribbon campaign.
We're still supporting them, and we're still thinking about them every single day.
We have a lot of people coming through here, so the more awareness we can create, the better.
And that awareness is already starting to spread among El Charro's customers.
It's a great program to have that, to stay united, to create something positive of something that's actually very sad.
A small ribbon that has the capacity to make a big difference.
If we can communicate a message of hope, then that's the only and best tool for all of us to be part of.
Employees at all the CHR restaurants will soon be wearing these yellow ribbons of hope. As more on the way, Melanie has already made a second batch, and they will be distributed throughout our community. Reporting from El Charro downtown, Robbie Reynolds, News 4 Tucson.
And from yellow ribbons of hope to the bonding between neighbors.
More than 6 weeks after Nancy disappeared, her Catalina Foothills neighbors say they've been leaning on each other for support. News 4 Tucson's Andrew Capasso joins us from there now with that story.
The most striking difference here outside Nancy Guthrie's home is the silence. Just weeks ago, the street would be lined with headlights and taillights. But now, while most of those news cameras are gone, the people who live in this neighborhood say it is forever changed.
This is a very safe, bucolic, beautiful place.
For 6 years, Jeff Lamy has called this Catalina Foothills neighborhood home. But he says what happened at this house, not far from his, has shaken everyone here.
I think it's disconcerting that this occurred, obviously, and we're so concerned about the family and supporting that family.
And thinking more about how to keep safe, both at their own homes.
Maybe people are more apt to lock their door or ensure that that camera is operational, you know, that you've charged that battery.
And as a community.
There's been talk of reinvigorating a neighborhood watch.
But beyond those measures, many people who live in this neighborhood have been doing important work to help find Nancy. What you may not know is a network of neighbors here have played an integral role throughout this investigation, working behind the scenes to gather camera footage from each other's homes, cross-referencing that footage and getting it to law enforcement. It's part of a neighborhood action group which formed early on in Nancy's disappearance. One member of the group tells us that's our recipe. So far, we haven't found Nancy, but we can help law enforcement by being targeted. We let them decide what is actionable. The group continuing their work, they call it the recipe for being helpful.
The best thing you can do for safety is create awareness, create connection with neighbors.
One neighbor who asked us to protect her identity says what happened to Nancy is bringing neighbors closer.
There's a sense of what now out here. We need to rely on each other, and I've seen a lot of that in these past few weeks. More checking up on people and more making sure everyone's okay.
She says it's helping the neighborhood heal.
Before this, we didn't know each other. Now we know a little more about each other, and we know we're in this together.
Something Lamy says is critical.
Absolutely. You know, it's the silver lining to a very dark cloud.
While hoping for the answer to questions so many are desperate for. What happened and why?
Because this was a shocking event.
And there is still a lot of healing to be done here. And neighbors say they're still fearful, and they will continue to be until they get answers in this case. Reporting in the Catalina Foothills, I'm Andrew Capasso, News 4 Tucson.
Thank you, Andrew. For our team here at News 4 Tucson, the story hits home. As we've told you, Savannah Guthrie is part of the News 4 Tucson family, having worked here as a news anchor on her way up to becoming the host of the Today Show.
Reporting on the disappearance of her mom has not been easy. Like the rest of the community, we wanted to find a way to show the Guthrie family our love and support and to provide a place for you to send a message of your own. We never expected the impact our tribute would have.
Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help.
Bring her home. Part of a message Savannah Guthrie posted on social media. It was a direct plea to those who were involved in her disappearance to let her go. But it was also a call for others to keep praying for Nancy's return. Those three words becoming the theme of the banner. We weren't quite sure how the community would react, but soon they started to come. Some to sign the banner, leaving messages of hope and support. Others leaving flowers and candles, each expressing their concern and love in their own way.
Our hearts are in it, and she's always on our mind. So the candles right here, the heart we made, all the names on the candles, to me, it's showing hope, it's showing love, and it's showing humanity.
And all coming by for the same reason.
Just to show my presence and support so the family knows that they're not alone and there are people that do care.
And for many, without even having met the Guthries, they still feel connected.
It doesn't cost to to care for people, and I care for the Guthries. They're from here. Savannah grew up here. They're ours.
And now, as the days have turned into weeks since the search began, keeping hope alive is more important than ever.
Hopefully, by doing this, it's still showing people out there that we care. It's showing people out there that just because the sheriff's not at the house anymore, just because there's not a whole group of people at the house, or you don't see stuff all over town anymore, we're not forgetting Nancy.
And tonight, the Guthrie family has a message for you, Tucson.
We are deeply grateful for the outpouring from neighbors, friends, and the people of Tucson. We are all family now. We continue to believe it is Tucsonans and the greater Southern Arizona community that hold the key to finding resolution in this case. Someone knows something. It's possible a member of this community has information that they do not even realize is significant. We hope people search their memories, especially around the key timelines of January 31st and the early morning hours of February 1st, as well as the late evening of January 11th. We desperately ask this community for renewed attention to our mom's case. Please consult camera footage, journal notes, text messages, observations, or conversations that in retrospect may hold significance. No detail is too small. It may be the key. We miss our mom with every breath, and we cannot be in peace until she is home. We cannot grieve. We can only ache and wonder. Our focus is solely on finding her and bringing her home. We want to celebrate her beautiful and courageous life, but we cannot do that until she is brought to a final place of rest. Thank you for continuing to pray without ceasing. The Guthrie family. Cameron and Christine, Annie and Tommaso, Savannah and Michael.
An emotional plea exclusive for News 4 Tucson. A family grateful for your love and support while desperate to find their mom. A reminder that you can find those links to call in your tips at the numbers at the bottom of your screen.
Like you, we were all hoping, we're holding on hope as a community. We can all work together to help bring Nancy home. From all of us at News 4 Tucson, good night.
them of being involved, even though it's a natural thing. And they could have come out and said, look, they could have done a 15-minute interview today and said, you know, we love Nancy. I mean, we understand that people would think because of this and this and that, and help the public understand. But instead, they're going to use the media right here, as you guys saw. They just use the media to make a hit piece saying that people are blaming them. Nobody's blaming them. We're just speculating because we haven't heard. We don't know. It's natural, human nature. Sorry, I'm just a little bit annoyed at the transparency, and then the hit piece, and then just doesn't make sense. Like, and I'm not trying to be mean to them at all. I mean, I understand everybody. Well, they're grieving. They're grieving. I lost my mother. I'm grieving still years later. I get it. I would probably, you know, go at the point and understand that, hey, I need to make a statement. If my mom was kidnapped and people are thinking that I did it, I would want to go out to the public and go, look, here, this is me. You don't have to ever think I did this. Like, why can't we get that? And let me know if I'm off base. I haven't even looked at the comments or anything, but the one thing I'm going to tell you that I did, and I'm going to see if I can rewind this. We'll rewatch if I can. Yeah, we'll rewatch this ending, the message from the family. So I'm gonna mute it here.
And tonight, the Guthrie family has a message for you, Tucson.
We are deeply grateful for the outpouring from neighbors, friends, and the people of Tucson. We are all family now. We continue to believe it is Tucsonans and the greater Southern Arizona community that hold the key to finding resolution in this case. Someone knows something. It's possible a member of this community has information that they do not even realize is significant. We hope people search their memories, especially around the key timelines of January 31st and the early morning hours of February 1st, as well as the late evening of January 11th. We desperately ask this community for renewed attention to our mom's case. Please consult camera footage, journal notes, text messages, observations, or conversations that in retrospect may hold significance. No detail is too small. It may be the key. We miss our mom with every breath, and we cannot be in peace until she is home. We cannot grieve. We can only ache and wonder. Our focus is solely on finding her and bringing her home. We want to celebrate her beautiful and courageous life, but we cannot do that until she is brought to a final place of rest. Thank you for continuing to pray without ceasing. The Guthrie family. Cameron and Christine, Annie and Tommaso, Savannah and Michael.
There's one word. There's one word in there that I'm going to bring up. Let's see if you guys got it, but I want to give a big thank you to Terry again. Kristen, appreciate the continued support. Neighborhood Watch, that's what you are all doing. I would want that in my neighborhood. Exactly. Good point. And they have the Neighborhood Watch signs. They have the actual Neighborhood Watch signs. So that program it's old, but I don't know if people actually have like Neighborhood Watch meetings. That's the way it was supposed to be established. The Neighborhood Watch has become nothing now in America. The neighborhood watch was designed so the community, the neighbors in each of these streets, they would meet and set up their own neighborhood watch, right? So you see these signs in here in Arizona, neighborhood watch, it's a big sign. It means nothing. It's a waste of metal. There's no neighborhood watch happened at Nancy's. If it was, there would have been a damn camera somewhere. So maybe they need to relook at what neighborhood watch is. They use these key terms, these buzzwords, and then something happens. Neighborhood watch, it's nothing. It's word salad. Thank you again, JLC. Thank you. I'm going to go to the word, and I got 2 more super thank you. Expected a brief thanks from the Guthries. Sorry, but no respect from the family for everything that has been done. I am upset, but not surprised, sad. And then everyone's auntie. Oh, thank you for the $9.99 super. My son was murdered 4 years ago, Red 4 years ago, and I'm still grieving. No arrests were made. Even though we know without a doubt who is responsible. I feel for the family. Everyone's out. I will advocate for you forever. If there's anything I can do, please. Let's spot if there's anything we can do to get the story out. The media listens to the YouTube. They watch the channels. They might be watching right now. The local media. Let's get it out there, everyone's auntie. I am here. My heart is with you. And everybody say prayers for healing, for the family. Everyone's auntie. Thank you for sharing that. And I'll always advocate for victims. And so please, if there is anything I can do, I know you probably are fighting hard. Let me do a video about it. I can send it over to some other people. But my heart is with you. So the one word I'm going to bring up is, well, let me ask, did you guys see the one word in that statement? And let me know, should we play it one more time? Let me know if you guys, there's one word. It's kind of confusing too. I like that. Kelt is fired up tonight. Thank you, Kelt. Let me see if you guys see the one word that there's only one word that really meant something in this whole 30-minute thing. So I'm going to give it 1 minute. Repeat. Okay, we'll repeat it one more time and then see if you can. There's one word that actually gave me hope. There's one word.
We are deeply grateful for the outpouring from neighbors, friends, and the people of Tucson. We are all family now. We continue to believe it is Tucsonans and the greater Southern Arizona community that hold the key to finding resolution in this case. Someone knows something. It's possible a member of this community has information that they do not even realize is significant. We hope people search their memories, especially around the key timelines of January 31st and the early morning hours of February 1st, as well as the late evening of January 11th. We desperately ask this community for renewed attention to our mom's case. Please consult camera footage, journal notes, text messages, observations, or conversations that in retrospect may hold significance. No detail is too small, It may be the key. We miss our mom with every breath, and we cannot be in peace until she is home. We cannot grieve. We can only ache and wonder. Our focus is solely on finding her and bringing her home. We want to celebrate her beautiful and courageous life, but we cannot do that until she is brought to a final place of rest. Thank you for continuing to pray without ceasing. The Guthrie family. Cameron and Christine, Annie and Tommaso, Savannah and Michael.
We have one person that got the word right. One person that got the word right. I'm looking. Actually, we got two people. Yep, everybody's seeing the word now. Everybody's seeing the word. I see it. I'm going to give it to the first person who got it, though. This is the word right here. This is the word. It's confusing. Renewed. Renewed. Let's rewind it to where it says that. Right here. Renewed. That's the word. I saw that right when I was hearing this. That was the word that stuck out of me out of everything. Renewed. Attention. We desperately ask this community for renewed. Let's look up the definition for renewed. Renewed attention means, okay, so here I'm going to read this, guys, what this means. Renewed. So this is what's confusing is are they saying for the media to come back out? We desperately ask this community for renewed attention to our mom's case. So now they're gonna say YouTubes need to leave out no parking, and then they want renewed attention. So the media needs to get back out here. Brian Enton, the family is asking for renewed attention to our mom's case. Renewed is the word. Thank you, BJ Root. Renewed attention. So I guess there's not enough attention because it's faded away, remember? And now they're asking for renewed. So tag that on X. Tell all the media. The Guthries are asking for renewed attention to their mom's case. They're not asking for this to go away. They're not asking for YouTubers to go away. Nothing says anything about the YouTubers need to stop or the media needs to go away. The media went away because of their budgets. Renewed is the word. So if anything I got out of that, this is a throwback at the big media that the Guthries are desperately thinking. We are desperately asked this community for renewed attention. Well, the community is doing enough. I mean, they can only do so much. The media needs to get out here and talk with the community, go into these neighborhoods, find out, do some investigative reporting. They're desperately asking. Thank you so much, Cbon. Cbon was the first one to get that. Those that care about Nancy don't need renewed attention on Nancy. We have been attentive all along. This makes me so mad. Thank you. And you were definitely watching that. And that word, it's kind of also like there's been so much attention. And so renewed attention is kind of the word. Thank you guys for playing that out with me. Read the rest of they state what they want. I understand they've been stating that since day one, day two. They do. That's definitely it also is renewed attention, so the public can see that the media is still on it. I mean, a lot of people they don't even know Nancy's missing in some of these neighborhoods in Tucson. I hate to tell you, if you go to South Tucson right now and you ask anybody about Nancy, there might be 50% of them that don't know Nancy is missing. It's not like they're not watching the local news. Is there any flyers going around? I'm getting flyers made on, I'll be handing those out to the mayor's office, the district's office. I'm not going away. I'm just going to think smart on how to get the word out to as many people at once. The media does a great job. They have a big following. So anyway, I'm going to go be right back. Let me know what's your guys' thoughts on where do we go from here after hearing this. I mean, the video was really, like everyone said, we didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything new. It's also interesting to me that they use the phrase "the key" several times. Let me see. We are deeply grateful for the outpouring from neighbors, friends, and the people of Tucson. We are all family now. Okay, so there's the first time it's the key. We continue to believe Tucsonans are the greater Southern Arizona community that hold the key to the finding a resolution. So that's one time it's used. Was it used more than once? Oh yeah, there we go. Right there, there's a second time. It may be the key. Oh, okay. So that's a good, I'm not going to go too deep, but yeah, that could be a little hint there that there might be a family member that there's a key sitting in their son's room right now that could be. What do you guys think about the key comment? Was it used a third time or is it just twice? We miss our mom. Don't see it there. So they used the key twice. But it is used right here, kind of right after, look, please consult camera, journal notes, text messages, observations that are in retrospect may hold no detail is too small. It may be the key. And then it was used up here. We continue to believe it is Tucsonans in the greater Southern Arizona community that hold the key to finding resolution. So is that a subliminal message that maybe, I'm just speculating, this is all just opinion based, that maybe they think that there was a key to get used in, or was it just coincidentally? Thank you, Mr. Walt. Thank you. Key 3 times. Did I miss the third time? Key to finding a resolution. I think is it 3 times? There's twice. I only see it twice. Am I missing one? Is that third time right here? especially around the key timelines, the key. So we got 3 times in this small little paragraph. Now, either that's really coincidentally written, because this was done, pretty professional proof that they put the key 3 times. The key. What do you guys think about this? This is crazy stuff we're unveiling right now. That they use the key 3 times in this. That is a little odd. What are your guys' thoughts? Amanda, it's also interesting to me that they use the phrase the key. There we go. Seabon, thank you again. My point was that renewed attention shouldn't be needed. The media and everyone should have been paying attention all along. Good comment. Thank you again. The wording makes it sound like they know the perp is definitely from Tucson, Arizona area. They are not asking people nationwide, just local. That's a good point, Jacqueline. I have been thinking this all along. I live in Tucson. I know this culture. I know Tucson. My gut feeling is the suspects, maybe plural, are living in southern Arizona. It could be Tucson. It could be one of these small towns that the cartel owns, basically. They own the police. Imagine right now in America, there's a small town not too far from Tucson, and the cartel runs it. I'm not joking, everybody. You think I'm joking? They run the city. In America, currently, today. Anna says, use the key 3 times. Around the key time. You guys are smart. I mean, I didn't see the key 3 times, so you guys nailed that one. Makes me wonder if they think someone who had a key to her house. Man, this just got a little weird in a way. I mean, I hate to say it because I'm really not thinking like that they would put that in there like to give a hint, but basically I'm actually believing that maybe they put that 3 times in there. It may be the key. Is that like a cryptic message they don't want to spook everybody, but maybe somebody in there in Tucson, southern Arizona, needs to go look in their son's room and see about a key. I mean, it's just weird. Thank you, Doctor. Why the word resolution? Trump used that word early on. What resolution is there? I thought he used the word solution. Christian, was it resolution that he used, or was it I thought he used the word solution, but he might have used both. He might have used resolute, because that was weird. When President Trump said, we're going to have a solution soon, I thought maybe it was resolution. I go, how the heck does he know? Like, I thought I don't think the president should have spoke anything. When he said that, I actually thought that it would be a cold case. Nanos was saying, let her go, but the family speaks as if they know she's dead. It's odd. I mean, this thing just got really odd. I thought I was going to be a little more resolute in maybe them uncovering some stuff in this special, but it just got really odd to me, how they're handling this now. I don't know. Try to not. I don't know why. I haven't deleted any messages. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Nancy's back door, according to Ashley, source was wide open.
How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Ganji. Welcome to another episode of Chair Talk. Guys, I was scrolling through my YouTube algorithm, and when it's talking about the Nancy Guthrie case, there was a topic that I thought was pretty interesting. There was a dialogue, which I'm going to show you, Megyn Kelly with, what's his name? That lawyer, Garagos. Well, they're both lawyers. Just one was a former prosecutor, one was a defense. Go into my discussion. All right, here we go.
Speaking of the media, there's been a report now by Radar Online, but they're citing Rob Schuster, who's a British-American celebrity reporter and royal insider. He's a frequent guest of The Nerve and our pal Maureen, and he hosts his own show called Naughty But Nice. And he had reported this, and now Radar Online is reporting it as well, that Savannah Guthrie's family is actively exploring the possibility of legal action against our pal Ashley Banfield following Ashley's exclusive about the brother-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, who's married to Savannah's sister.
Now, by the way, so the moment they said it's our pal Ashley Banfield, and they will say it later that they're close to her, I knew that there may be another side of this that we can cover. So that's what kind of motivated me to just see if there's another side, because I want to be objective and fair. So I think this presents one side good, and then I think I have the other side, at least enough to start a discussion.
Annie being at that time, maybe, she said, the prime suspect in this case. Here's the reporting of February 3rd, SOT 28.
But they have towed Annie Guthrie's car, and there is some connection to Annie Guthrie's car and Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law. That would be Annie's husband, Tommaso Cioni, age 50, from Tucson, Arizona, married to Annie P. Guthrie, Savannah's sister. And my law enforcement source tells me that Tommaso Cioni is the prime suspect in this case. Again, law enforcement source tells me that Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law, married to Annie Guthrie, Savannah's sister, is maybe a prime suspect in this case. At the very least, let me tamp that down, because sometimes it's the first person you're looking at, not prime as in there's no one else. Okay, so let's be really mindful of that. When anything happens like this, familial abductions, the family's looked at first, and Annie and or Tommaso Cioni were the last people to see Nancy Guthrie at 9:45 at night. But it's very distressing to think that this law enforcement source is telling me that Tommaso Cioni is maybe a prime suspect in this case at this point, and that the car belonging to Annie has been towed and impounded and is in evidence.
Now, I have not been able to confirm that the Guthrie family wants to sue Ashley Banfield, but I have confirmed that Savannah is livid about that report and definitely does not suspect her sister or her brother-in-law. Can you blame her? I mean, that, of course, you know, she loves her sister. I'm sure she loves her brother-in-law, and I'm sure she genuinely doesn't believe they had anything to do with it. All of us are in a different boat. You know, we have to be more objective in assessing the possible suspects, the possible people connected with it, and law enforcement certainly does. And Ashley based this claim, Mark, on what she said a senior law enforcement source who had been a source for her for years, who she described as an impeccable source, told her. She's, you know, so do you think there actually could be it would be a defamation claim by the Guthries against Ashley Banfield?
Let me tell you what I would do if Savannah came into my office or called me and asked me that question. I would say, look, I know you're out of your mind about this. I know you can't believe that this is being reported, but the tape that we just watched together couldn't be more protected under the law. And there is no way this, any thought that you have about suing, any claim that you think you have is going to be met by, depending on the jurisdiction it's brought in, what's called an anti-SLAPP, which is a strategic lawsuit against. What that will do is it will freeze the case, and a judge, when he gets it or she gets it, is going to rule that you have no ability to pursue a claim that, as framed, by the way, Ashley framed it. It's dead on arrival, pun intended, in terms of any kind of legal action. There's no there whatsoever. Because you have the ability, number one, because it's you could find any judge who's looking at this, any lawyer who's involved is going to tell you, of course, they're looking at the family members. It would be malpractice not to, and that's exactly what Ashley said. Number two, the media is, as long as they are reporting and they have source protection, you're never going to be able to disprove what Ashley Banfield said. Source protection. This has been, by the way, Megan, one of the great frustrations when I'm trying a high-profile case. When a judge gags me and says, you, Mr. Garrigus, your team and the prosecution team, as lawyers, cannot comment on this case. This is attorney's eyes only on some discovery. Well, what ends up happening, the law enforcement leaks the information. How do I ever prove that? I can't, because there is source protection. So that source protection, which is robust, is always going to be a wall that you're never going to be able to climb over.
What would you tell a man who's been late to everything for 40 years?
Sorry.
About it, Matt. I mean, what if they did sue, saying this turned into a complete shit show where this poor guy who is a victim, as the sheriff said, when you do this kind of thing, the somebody who, he may not be the prime suspect, he may actually be just a victim, who was a victim, had all this focus on him. I mean, everybody, yours truly, Brian Enton, everybody who's been in depth covering this story started talking a lot more about the brother-in-law as a result of that report. And if they say, we don't believe her law enforcement source, we think she made it up, or we think her law enforcement source ought to be sued as well because that was complete bullshit from the beginning that caused us to come under undue scrutiny, might they have a case?
Well, I think Mark's exactly right. We both dealt with this in California. It's called anti-SLAPP. I don't know what they would call it in Arizona, but basically, what did she say? She said he's a suspect. And so what exactly is that? He was the last person to see her. That's not Ashley's fault. And full disclosure, I really like Ashley Banfield.
Same.
I know her personally. I think she's a great journalist.
Reporter.
She's a solid reporter. And what she's doing is she's reporting what a source told her. She doesn't say he did it and here's why. She says, I've got information from a law enforcement source who says he is a prime suspect. And even though we've heard that, I think there's even TV shows called Prime Suspect at one point or another. What exactly does that mean? What is a suspect? A suspect means it's somebody that the police are looking at that they suspect, is right there in the word, might have done it. And the entire world is a suspect in a whodunit like this. And And Mark's right. It goes nowhere. These are incredibly emotional situations for the family. Wouldn't be the first time that Radar Online has been radically wrong. But again, going back to what Mark said originally, and I think he's exactly right, all roads lead back to the sheriff.
Remember, though, so in all fairness, we want to I'm not an expert here, but in the discussion that Ashley had, or whatever her show, she said prime suspect. So that doesn't pull him with all other suspects as what would normally be the routine. We get it. We talked about this on the show before. You're going to go with the closest people to Nancy. At that point, they all could be suspects. It's the word prime. It kind of pulls him out a little bit, and I think that would be where some of the concerns are. I think Savannah would expect everybody that's close to Nancy would be a suspect. But we're talking about the connection of the word prime to it, which is
actions are not matching to the scenario, none of them. So I feel like they are all very sus to what's going on, and they kind of don't really want to know. And with CPS, I think that's just definitely money related. If she did refinance the house or do a HELOC or whatever, and then money going in and out of accounts. Whenever you are like over 70, like you're done. Like you won't get credit. Things, if they're approved, it's like, who did you know? Because they feel like you're retired and you can't pay back anything. But it's interesting because you can go down all these rabbit holes. You got the construction people, the pool guy, the CPS, the cable guy, the camera guy that came and did the cameras after, the FedEx, the Amazon, the police, the pizza guy, the band members. It's just like, it's like this crazy scenario. That's why I think I'm obsessed also, because I've never seen anything like this where it's all over the place and you can literally dig any hole you want and pin it on anybody. And that's the scary part, because we all know, like, if you have any side of guilt that they're thinking, you're effed. And like, it could be the cartel and have nothing to do with anybody, but they're still thinking it's this one person or two people, like Luke. The whole Kayla thing with Luke is all strange, bizarre. The mother, when I saw that interview, I thought that they looked kind of too nervous. She looked a little guilty to me, like she knew something she didn't want to disclose. She was very afraid to talk. That's what I kind of read off her body language. The subliminal messages, like I said, I just don't understand how, like, they don't have any camera video from Tomas leaving his house and then pulling up to her house. I think that something happened by the front door. I think she was wrapped up at that point, and then they brought her around back, and I think that's why they were checking out that back gate. I hope that I was thinking that, when they were digging in the ground, that something happened there, and the tunnels and water. I kind of feel like that's where that went. The pacemaker, I am totally fixated, and I just heard that last woman, the one thing I got from her is that somebody was researching medical devices, and like, I'm a nurse, but like with pacemakers, you could put a magnet, a medical magnet, and when you remove that magnet, it'll go back and start working. But if you hold it there for a prolonged period of time, then she'll go into cardiac arrest, and it may start working again unless they tape it to her body. But I remember, I think there was like pinging, wasn't there, like pinging like a week later or something? And like I
didn't hear anything about pinging a week later. I heard there was, like, I heard through Banfield they were looking for some sort of signal or something from another county.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about, or is it
they were looking for pinging off her pacemaker? Apparently, they were like stalking some area, but like, didn't they subpoena the records from the physician? Like, this is all like so bizarre to me that they didn't, disclose. Yeah, we subpoenaed the records. They correlate with when the pacemaker stopped. Like, there's just so many things, and I feel like Nanos, he's just bananas. I think he has an inkling that he kind of knows something, and that's why he's acting so shady, because he should not have opened up that after 20 hours. That should have been roped off. That whole area, everything on that front stoop should have been collected and taken for evidence. Like every single thing was tarnished. Every person I mentioned stepped foot on that front step. So they just did not do a good post cleanup, like and securing the site. And that's probably why I think none of us know anything now, because they realize that they screwed so many things up, and the FBI is like, shut your pie hole because you're going to ruin this. Like, we have our people, but we have to prove it, and we don't want to make it inadmissible in court,
But did you hear that plea tonight? They're basically saying anyone in Tucson or Southern Arizona, keep a lookout, and someone might have information. How small, as if
yes. Yeah,
they feel
and
like it's someone in Tucson or in Southern Arizona that's responsible with this.
I feel like it's 3 people, and I feel like it's somebody local, and then maybe somebody that could be local but doesn't necessarily stay local, and then maybe another person is like international. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, it's getting late here. I'm going to keep it moving here because I'm not doing an all-night stream tonight. Got to be back on bright and early tomorrow morning. Just keep something.
You got it. Well, I wanted to say thank you for everything you're doing. You and Brian, you guys are amazing. So thank you for keeping us abreast for us crime junkies. Okay. Yeah. Have a great night.
Have fun in Florida. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, Taylor, you're up, and then Gladys Rabbits. Does it work now?
Do you? I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No.
Uh-oh.
Are you there?
I'm here.
I can hear you. I'm so sorry.
No apologies.
For all of the technical difficulties.
Well, what's going on? I spoke to you and your mom earlier, right?
Yes. Yeah. She went to bed and wanted to share some of my thoughts, especially post special that we just watched. I thought that it was weird from a communication standpoint. Like, the story was very disjointed. I felt like the piece on the streamers was very randomly thrown in there. It almost felt like they were making a martyr of Nancy to like reel people in to watch this, but then to like condemn the people who are broadcasting and bringing light. And then almost in the same breath, then have the family statement ask for renewed attention on the case. Like, I think it's safe to say that the streamers are the ones who have never lost attention and who have been pleading to the public to like continue following this case, whereas we've seen all of the other news stations sort of pack up and go home. And so I just felt like that, like it was just disjointed. It didn't flow. The story was weird, but also the contrast between Nanos and his statement and his response to the question, if you could say something to the perp, like what would it be? And he said, bring her back, drop her off at a clinic or at a church. Like, that in comparison to then the family statement saying we can't grieve unless Nancy is brought to a final resting place. Like,
contradicting each other.
Yeah, because he's almost, I mean, I listened to him and I was like, oh, he thinks that she's still alive. Like, there's evidence that she could still be living. But then the family very much so is like, we want her body so that we can, to mourn. And so that was strange. And then talking, and I didn't even like catch this until you were rereading the statement slower, but talking about, they said, retrace your memories, reread your journals, your text messages. And the journals piece to me was really weird because like there's like this theatrical idea of journaling where it's like, I ate eggs for breakfast. I saw a weird man outside on the street. I went to work. And it's like, people don't actually like journal like that. And so for me, I almost was like, that's a weird thing to say. And like, I don't know, just being like, hey, check your diaries. Did you feel like anything was out of place that day? Was just strange.
Yeah, I saw. Let me get that. Go ahead. I'm gonna try to find that specific. Yeah. Let me see. Go ahead. But yeah, good. I mean, you're coming up with your assessment about this program here that was played on the local Tucson. Consult camera footage, journal notes. text messages and observations. What does that even mean?
Yeah, because I mean, like, yep, your camera footage makes sense. If you live in the area, check your rings, check your electric doorbells.
I guess if someone's writing a journal and you see something, or
yeah, and to me, it almost was like if you know someone that could be like responsible for this, like read their journal, or I don't know, because it's like, I mean, to me, it's just a weird thing. Like, read your journal notes is just, I mean, I just feel like people don't journal like that. Like, the text messages make sense if you live in the area and are like texting your girlfriends or your neighbors or whatever, like, hey, did you see this weird guy or this weird person kind of lurking around? Yeah, suspicious. But like the journal notes to me just was like
something Annie would suggest because she's into the poetry, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like journal notes.
It just felt very specific, like to maybe something, some sort of profile maybe that they have or something, because I just can't, I just was like, your journal, it's like your diary. Like, people don't actually write stuff like that.
Unless somebody's out on the porch or something and writing something about, you know, writing things and they see something pass or something. They're like, yeah, you know, like maybe it's one of those things where someone's writing everything they see in front of them, maybe.
Yeah. Like maybe like a little like anecdote on like the side of like a piece of paper, like, hey, check in with so-and-so, or
no, that's interesting. Yeah, please consult camera footage, journal notes, text messages, and observations or conversations that in retrospect may hold significance. That's what they're asking for.
Yeah. And it's just so vague. Like, it's, I mean, it's literally like you're looking for a drop of water in the ocean. Like, what specifically are you looking for? Like, I mean, and
How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Ganji. Welcome to another episode of Tear Talk. So, JLR Investigates. That is someone a lot of us have followed. I really didn't follow him as much. I may have watched one or two of his videos, but then at that point I just kind of couldn't connect to him. But he does have a big following, as you can see here. His views, 204 million. I mean, that's a lot of views. He's got over 6,000 videos. He's got over 555,000 followers. Last month alone, 17 million views, 17,000 subscribers. And I think that's probably because he put himself smack dab in some of these cases, including the Nancy Guthrie case. I mean, literally going out to Arizona and putting himself right in the middle, leaving that camera on. And I'm not a fan of that, to be honest with you. I think there's ways to do respectable reporting in which you kind of wait for the lead investigators to kind of tell you what's happening. They release information. You could build some theories on it, of course, but in the end, you really shouldn't do anything that gets in their way, obstructs justice. In this case, ruin the element of surprise. And it looks like he has a concern with domestic violence right now. If you let me close this off, you could see that people have put some YouTube videos up. I got a good breakdown, but they're talking about DV allegations surface in police report involving YouTuber JLR Investigates. True crime YouTuber JLR Investigates has protective order filed against him after Christmas DV call. So he is now the center of his own true crime narrative. I actually was doing some research, got some information I wanted to share. It has been requested, so I am going to share what I have. So right here, this is JLR with his, I guess that would be his ex. So a little bit about JLR. So his real name is Jonathan Lee Riches, and he was born in 1976 and grew up around Philadelphia, far from the true crime reporter persona he would later sell to YouTube. Long before he ever pointed a camera at anyone else's life, he was stealing identities for a living. In the early 2000s, he linked up with teenage accomplices he met online, mostly in Texas, and together they built one of the first big phishing-style fraud rings federal agents had seen. They blasted out mass spam emails, tricked people into handing over their bank information, then used their data to open or drain accounts. Rich's role was to turn stolen data into real money. He'd walk into banks with forged IDs, pretend to be the person whose life he hijacked, and walked out with thousands in cash. By the time investigators shut the operation down, roughly 2,000 victims had been hit, and more than $1 million had moved through the fraud. In 2004, he pled guilty in federal court to wire fraud and conspiracy, and a judge sentenced him to just over 10 years in federal prison, ordered him to pay restitution, and placed him on supervised release for after his sentence. And that was his foundation. And it wasn't journalism, not advocacy, but calculated deception and financial crime. This is someone that has over 555,000 followers. Man, guys, he's definitely all over the internet now. That's a picture of his ex. That may be an older mugshot of him. One case true crime YouTuber JLR Investigate isn't covering his ex allegation he beat and strangled her. Oh, there's the article exclusive ex of JLR Investigate alleges he beat and strangled her. All right, let's get some more. I have more. So prison didn't make him quiet. Oh, I want to know when he got out, actually. Hold on, I had that here. He was released from federal prison on April 30th, 2012 from the Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Okay, so prison didn't make him quiet. It gave him a new stage. Once inside, Richards discovered federal civil procedures and turned it into his next act. He began filing pro se lawsuits from his cell, at first over his own property and prison grievances, and then very quickly against anyone and anything that crossed his mind. He sued presidents, he sued celebrities, he sued corporations, sport teams, historical figures, even abstract concepts and foreign governments. At one point, he even sued himself and lost. He signed filings as Jonathan Lee Riches, with a C copyright symbol, I think that is, as if his name were a brand, and flooded courts around the country with thousands of complaints. Judges dismissed them as frivolous. Clerks knew his name by sight. Legal blogs and magazines started profiling him as the most litigious man in America and Mr. Superman. That avalanche of paperwork did more than entertain the internet. It taught him how the system works, how to write something that gets noticed, how to weaponize official documents, how to make himself the center of the story. And those are the same instincts he later brought to YouTube. Anyway, I got a little bit more on that section. So again, prison didn't make Jonathan Lee Riches quiet. It gave him a new stage. Once inside, he discovered federal civil procedures and turned it into his next act. Starting in 2006, he began handwriting lawsuits from his cell, at first about his own property and prison grievances, and then very quickly about anything that flashed across the TV screen or imagination. Over the next few years, he filed more than 2,600 federal cases by conservative counts, and he himself has bragged the number is over 4,000. The defendants read like a mashup of a gossip magazine, a history book, and a fantasy novel. He sued former President George W. Bush, Attorney General Janet Reno, Bill Belichick, Jeff Gordon, Steve Jobs, Perez Hilton, Martha Stewart, Pope Benedict the 16th, Kim Kardashian, Britney Spears, Kanye West, Lady Gaga, Hulk Hogan, and then kept going. He sued Somali pirates. He sued the 13 tribes of Israel. He sued Adolf Hitler's National Socialist Party, the Roman Empire, and the Eiffel Tower. He sued Coke and Pepsi. He sued the video game Grand Theft Auto 4, claiming the game's depiction of crime had put him in prison and left him in danger from inmates who played it and might knock me out and take my gold Jesus cross. And some of the complaints read like parody. In one 2007 suit, he claimed NFL quarterback Michael Vick stole his pit bulls, used them in dogs fighting rings, then sold the dogs on eBay to buy missiles from the Iranian government as damages. Riches demanded $63 billion. In another case, he listed hundreds of defendants in a single caption: Guantanamo Bay, the Soviet Gulag Archipelago, the My Lai massacre, the movie Cool Hand Luke, and accused them of trying to force him to eat rats and subject him to microwave testing. He filed actions against NBA players and team owners, claiming Carmelo Anthony had personally threatened to kill him and sought restraining orders based on imaginary plots. At one point, when he learned that Guinness World Records was considering a category for most litigious man, he preemptively sued Guinness itself for allegedly miscounting his lawsuits and defaming him. The true punchline, though, was that he even sued himself. In a self-filed complaint, he listed Jonathan Lee Riches as both
We are deeply grateful for the outpouring from neighbors, friends, and the people of Tucson. We are all family now. We continue to believe it is Tucsonans and the greater Southern Arizona community that hold the key to finding resolution in this case. Someone knows something. It's possible a member of this community has information that they do not even realize is significant. We hope people search their memories, especially around the key timelines of January
Yes, cops came out. I'll tell you guys about it tomorrow. I'm very tired and I have a migraine. I'm gonna call it.
And we are back. Come on in. Come on in. JLR Investigates. Good evening, everyone. Late night stream. Where's Nancy Guthrie, folks? There is a special coming up on Tucson, News 4 Tucson, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Arizona time, talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. We're going to watch.
Airline and border without issue. On 12/27/25, I received a text message from Jamie on my department issued cell phone that she was finally able to track Jonathan's location. He was traveling through North Dakota. It is not known at this time if he is driving back to Florida or at a different location. So Okay. Did the victim have firearms? No, it's just like yes or no questions. Okay. Criminal charges. So he's not charged. I don't know if these are like pending or something. Charge assault in the second degree. Booked. No. Charge harassment. Let's see. What now? Oh, was a U-Haul chase? Oh my God. What now? I feel like the chase gods are always like messing with me. The chase gods. Now you want to have all these weeks and shit. Now you want to have a chase? Let me see. Should we watch the chase and take a little, or is that like insensitive? Oh, it's already getting pulled over. I think, well, let me see.
By El Monte trying to stop this U-Haul and this driver, and has now gone through Boyle Heights and now near Soto Street and East Washington Boulevard. The interesting part of this, Gio, there's a lot of movement from this driver.
Absolutely.
Which is always a pretty dangerous sign. You know, officers are one.
I don't know why they don't just pull this person out. Maybe we'll take a minute to let it cool off a little bit. I know it's tense. Tempers are flaring with this story. People are very, feel some kind of way. People are very angry. People have strong emotions, from either personal experience, and stuff like that.
Either lighting something,
they're smoking up.
Hard to
tell, my
God. This is at least the fifth, maybe more than that time. We've seen this many times, basically, in just the last 5 minutes, and just moving back and forth between that
very
passenger
erratic,
seat.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredibly strange and concerning too, because then that just right here, then you start picking up speed again, and we haven't seen officers during those elongated stops make any close approach to the driver because of those concerns.
I am wondering though, because we were zoomed in on the U-Haul there, if officers normally, when the pursuit suspect does come to a stop, they'll get out of their cars, they'll point their weapons at the car, give them commands to come out. We can't see that given that we were zoomed in on the U-Haul there, and we can't hear those commands. But hopefully we can get some of that information from our news desk. Sometimes they're listening to the scanners. But at this point, this driver really taking off. Another interesting point, though.
What was that? Did they hit something? Oh, no.
They are following traffic.
Yes.
Anytime traffic stops, they stop. But then we're seeing 70 miles per hour down a residential street, or I should say just a city street.
Yeah, that's the thing, because all of a sudden,
they're gonna be coming to this very industrial area of Southgate, East Los Angeles here. And a lot of industrial buildings and not as much traffic.
And you wonder too, and I don't.
You see a city bus there,
and you see someone who was right there on the corner of the intersection too. It was scary, but I don't. You wonder also.
I appreciate you guys coming through, man. I know it's kind of like, I know some people are like, oh my God, Mustard, thank you so much for the memberships. Mel, you're going to day with me. Stooge, thank you so much for the super chat. Both guilty and mental, case closed. I am going to talk about the like I said, I saw somebody saying somewhere about the history of making accusations too. Please do a deeper dive on her. You got to give me a chance to talk. You guys got to give me a chance to let me, to go through the whole thing with the story. We're going to talk about that. The other thing, the Project Veritas.
That you can just drive comfortably, even in regular traffic, for any of us who have used these types of trucks before. These are not easy things to drive, especially regardless if there's something in the back or not, and then add an extra degree of difficulty if there is something in the back of the truck.
That'll weigh it down there, but if there's nothing in the back of the truck, this thing is probably going to move rather quickly, sway side to side.
Appreciate the super chat.
My question now is, I wonder what tactics officers are going to try to use. At this point, we know El Monte police staying on this, despite this now being an LAPD, maybe Southgate territory. I would say this is.
So we're going to go, I don't know why they don't just spike strip the vehicle. I mean, she's just right there, or ram her ass. I guess they're just going to California. They've been overdue for a chase for a long time. I don't even know why they're getting out the vehicle. She's not going to stop. She's high on something, smoking out of a pipe. Okay, one guy's brazen. He's going to try to open the door and then run off. This woman's high as a kite, man, smoking up the last.
Driver didn't even notice.
I don't think the driver even noticed
she
that
in her own
happened. So
world.
we'll have to see if they're successful.
Also, because and to your point,
In
Leslie,
rolling
about
over
how
those.
effective it was,
Yeah,
that you saw that officer come up on the back right side of the vehicle, and because it's so wide and the vantage points and the fact that this driver seems to be distracted every time they stop, it really was smooth, and we're about to see what happened.
That was smooth, and I don't think I've seen an officer get that close to a vehicle.
Yep. Oh,
to
here we
make
go.
sure
Let's see.
that they're successful
Well,
in
the
this spike
problem is,
strip. It looks
too-
like, of course,
Yep,
it was
he tried to
almost right
spike
under the.
way too long. He had a big opportunity there to do that. Now, I guess they can't pit it, maybe because it's a U-Haul, it's a big ass vehicle. A spike strip to disable this vehicle would be perfect.
And taking a look there, Sky Cow zooming in for you on the back tire. So we'll see what happens. But you know, I was going to point out too, in that moment we saw that that light reflecting again from the driver. And, you know, earlier, right here, video on the right side of your screen showing that officer just kind of efficiently moving in, dropping it in front of that back right tire, and then going right back to the vehicle, efficiently getting in and getting out. And it almost seemed like that driver didn't even notice at all. Picking up speed right now as we continue down. It looks like Slauson and Maywood. But I mean, it's still dangerous. Even if it was successful in that moment, we still have that time right now where we're worried about what might happen next.
That tire has some time before we start to see that spike strip move.
It's kind of awkward, man. The whole day in the last 2 weeks, no chases. And I get on to cover something serious and we get this BS now. It's kind of a little annoying. But at the same time, maybe it's a little relief, I guess. BHB released a short video saying that she wasn't in the hotel room. So like everyone, she doesn't know what happened. BHB, man, I've seen some clips and stuff online. She says that he never put a hand on somebody, and then there was another clip that I saw allegedly her saying that like he'd kill somebody or some shit. That chick is like all over the place, man. She's just not somebody to get any kind of information from. She is all over the place, a hot mess. I don't know. I was trying to find that clip. Look at this.
He hates kids. Not that he wants anything bad to happen to kids, but he hates kids. So this facade that he's out there and doing things, he treats women like crap. One of his ex-girlfriends he beat. Okay, again, these are things that I'm learning. I've spoken with her before, right? These are.
They said that she took that live down. She says all kinds of shit, man, so I can't take anything serious from her as for what she's saying. You know, she says he's an angel, and then you also have all these other clips, and then they've dated. I don't know these true crime people sleeping with each other, allegedly hooking up. I don't know what's going on. I don't want any parts of it. I don't want any parts of it. That's why the story with this situation with Mag and JLR, unfortunately, it webs out to like all this other weird shit that I don't even think we should even go there, honestly, because it just muddies the water. I think it should just try to stick to the allegations, you know, what's coming out in court, and if he responds and the upcoming court date kind of thing. Because if you start looking everywhere, it's a mess. It's a hot mess. Like the history, like all these people knew each other. They all used to go to different places together. It's like some weird shit.
And if that spike strip was effective in any way, I start getting really nervous about a U-Haul truck going at fast speeds on a freeway.
Yeah, you're talking about a vehicle that is much larger than most pursuits that we cover. And right now we know the back right tire.
And at this moment, we do want to welcome in our CBS 2 viewers right now. We're simulcasting on KCAL and on KCBS, letting you know about this ongoing pursuit of a U-Haul that I believe started in the Boyle Heights area. El Monte police have been in pursuit of this for a good amount of time so far, and we've seen them at points on the 10-5 interchange, we believe, at one moment, hanging out on surface streets for quite a while, and right now on the freeway.
My friend texted me, said, you're going to get skinned alive for the U-Haul chase. Probably. I know. But that's part of the channel. I mean, that's, the chases come. We have to, like, pause for a second. It's kind of weird. I know it's, like, such a serious topic, but maybe they'll offer a little. I know it's tense. People were saying I shouldn't even talk about this. You're not allowed to talk about it. I think I'm presenting it fairly, and I'm going to get to the Project Veritas thing too.
We believe El Monte Police was the agency that first picked this up.
Yeah, I called and confirmed with that it was El Monte, and why they pulled this thing over, they hit it. I'm not sure if it was a traffic violation. That's what I was trying to clarify or not. But once the pursuit started, it was on. But yeah, they definitely got that right rear tire spiked, and if anything.
I think what we're gonna do, I think I'll put the chase thing on the side. I don't know. I think I'll put it on the side. Which one's live? That was earlier. Yeah, I think we'll do it on the side. I'm thinking, and keep going on with this. Let's see. Just keep it like that, I guess. I don't know. It's too small. Something like that. Just kind of keep an eye. But okay, we're done with this document. I wanted to get to another document. Let me do this. I think this is the order of protection. There we go. This one? Yeah, this lady's high out of her mind, man. Like the end of times. Okay, so this is the protection order. Okay. And this she goes into some details. Petitioner requests. Damn, that chick is driving nuts, bro. Petitioner requests to the court issue an ex parte order of protection with the following provisions. Respondent to be excluded from my current residence. Okay. So let's get into the nitty gritty of these details here. Prohibiting the respondent directly and through an agent from contacting the petitioner or victim under the following conditions, only to respond to legal documents such as separation and restitution. Restitution agreement via consul. What kind of restitution are we talking about? Excluding the petitioner's address from the respondent. Okay, let's just get started to the. So, affidavit accompanying petition for domestic order of protection. Jamie, petitioner, in the above named order of protection case, I've been duly sworn to depose and state the following under the penalty of perjury. I am the petitioner in the above captioned case for a petition for an order of protection against the named respondent. In good faith, I believe I am entitled to an order of protection against the respondent, and I submit the affidavit in accordance with the Arkansas Code annotated. Beginning January 2023 and continuing through December 25th, 2025, I was involved in an intimate domestic relationship with the respondent, Jonathan Lee Riches. During the course of this relationship, the respondent engaged in a persistent and escalating pattern of domestic abuse, coercive control, intimidation, financial exploitation, and physical violence towards me. On December 25th, 2025, Christmas, the respondent violently assaulted me, causing extreme injuries, including broken nose, septum, significant trauma to my head, and ribs requiring emergency care, CT scans, x-rays, and will require reconstructive surgery to repair broken and crushed bones in my nose. So, she's saying she has all this documentation, and I'm sure that's going to come during the trial, or it's going to be presented to the attorneys and I guess jury if it goes to trial. And crushed bones in my nose. This assault is currently pending felony assault charges. So she's saying it's pending felony charges. Threats to kill with the chief criminal deputy prosecutor in Chelan County, Washington State. She put the case number, police report attached. Throughout the relationship, the respondent physically assaulted me on numerous occasions, including strangulation, approximately 24 times. That's pretty crazy, too. 24 times. If you don't know what a dozen is, that's 12. So that's 24 times, approximately 24 times. Really big allegation. Lots of strangulations, allegedly. In the August 2025, respondent committed a brutal assault against me involving beating me repeatedly with his closed fist. Respondent threatened to kill me if I reported his assaults or if I called 911. Since the 2025, December 25, 2025 felony assault, respondent has continued to abuse me using fear, threats, intimidation, ongoing financial abuse, theft of all our joint funds. I don't know if you guys follow me on X, but the other day I tweeted out, never get a joint account. I don't see any benefit. I had thought about getting a joint account a long time ago in a relationship. Oh, it's cute. Never. Don't do joint accounts, man. Forget that crap. So she's claiming that he took the money out of the funds out of our joint account in an act of retaliation. I mean, maybe that was his money. I don't know, but I don't know the legality once you make a joint account, how that works, you know. Respondent fled the crime scene, fled the jurisdiction, and remains a flight risk. He has continued to contact me. I'm in fear of immediate harm plus death. And that was 1/20/2026. So, very, very huge, serious allegations. And it's like, I can't believe this person's still gone. And then they posted the black eye. And then this article came out, which was like, holy crap. This article came out. And then Magnolia responded today also. She tweeted out, I thought maybe she didn't have control of her account anymore. And this article kind of goes into detail. There's one true crime case. There's one case true crime YouTuber JLR Investigates isn't covering. X's allegations he beat and strangled her. And true crime YouTube star Jonathan Lee Riches, aka JLR Investigates. Oh my God. Hold on. Lord almighty. What's wrong with this lady? Forgot. Okay, there we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, she took off running.
Before where they like to go to where they have friends or friends or family, but there you just got it lit up and definitely putting out there. It's at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, the bottom of the screen, right there.
Go to the bottom of the screen. There you go. Gosh. And what they do is that the area is putting out a description of the suspect. They got the bag, and directing any units in the vicinity in on this. There we go. Yeah, so the unit was right on it, even though they're not in the vicinity. We're going. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you could almost tell the driver there slowed down as if to just act casual and perhaps try to throw the scent off.
Okay, I'm glad we can kind of be done with that. But okay, so yeah, there's this article like went in depth. I read it when it came out. I was like, oh shit, mainstream, which I'm not surprised because I feel like JLR got so much attention with Nancy Guthrie. I think it's probably one of his biggest cases, man. Biggest cases probably on his channel. It's just crazy to come to where he's come to, and then this happened. It's just horrible. It's horrible. I mean, it's life-changing. And I don't understand, the allegations too. I just to me, it's like, why would you risk that, if he did do that? We don't know that he did, but if he did, why would he risk that? Like when you're going to the top, you're making all this money, your life is changing, you turn your life around. Why risk that? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Let me put this away now. Let me get the chat back up. I don't know if I want to look at the chat, but let me get the chat back up. Okay, so yeah, this article came out. It was kind of crazy. He allegedly accused of beating her, strangling her, threatening her. We talked about the petition. The whole convicted felon, 10 years in federal prison over credit card fraud scheme. We know about that stuff. He wrote a book about that. He's talked about that publicly, openly. I wonder if that could affect this potential case coming up now. It's kind of crazy too when you're covering the news and then you are the news, right? Like you're in the news. It's got to be kind of trippy, kind of crazy, like to have your shit now in the news, you know. Was in a relationship with Phillips in early 2023 that spiraled, and, you know, she says that it was an escalating pattern of domestic abuse. According to the handwritten affidavit, Phillips says she had extreme injuries, including broken nose, septum, significant trauma, ribs. Claims that on multiple occasions he beat her with closed fists. We talked about the August incident. We talked about, and she said 24 times, which is crazy. She alleges ongoing harassment after the Christmas incident, which took place in Washington, including threats, intimidation, financial abuse. On January 21st, 2026, the court issued an order of protection, finding there was sufficient evidence Phillips faced an immediate and present danger of domestic abuse. Richards has not responded to the allegations. He and his lawyer, so he has a lawyer. His lawyer is probably telling him not to talk about this, I guess, you know? I feel like, I mean, what would you do if you were in his situation? Would you respond to this or not? If you were being accused of something like this and you had this huge YouTube channel, would you respond or not? It's like one of those things, almost like if damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think maybe. Because if he acknowledges and says something on his channel, people that don't have any idea what's going on are now going to know what's going on. But at the same time, from what people have been telling me, they're saying his chat's getting blown up. His chat is getting blown up, blown a lot of people. People are unsubscribing. So it's affecting his business. It's affecting his YouTube page. So at what point do you say something? Or at what point do you have the lawyer put out a statement? The lawyer could put out something professional. Hey, my client, whatever is being said is not true, or my client has an upcoming court date. Please don't rush to conclusions. If I was him, I'd push the attorney like, motherfucker, you need to go put out a statement, something, just whatever. Like, you know, we're dealing with the situation. You know, I don't know. What do you think? Or you'd wait? They say he's lost subscribers. It's a tough position. So Richards has not responded to the allegations, and his lawyer did not return the post request. I did give him a heads up the night that I was sent the information. I DM'd him and I was like, I don't have his personal phone number. Like, people act like we hang out and we talk on the phone all the time. I've met him one time. I feel like I feel like he changed his life. I don't know now. We'll have to see. And I use his streams during Cavalcante, and then I use his streams during Nancy Guthrie, and I've redirected people there. Chelan County Sheriff's Office in Washington sent the Post an incident report, which says they had probable cause to arrest Richards, but he had left the state. He has not been formally charged in relation to the incident, and no warrants appear to be issued for his arrest. And the whole thing with that too, it would be interesting to get a lawyer to talk about it. The reason there's not a warrant is, let me see, I was looking at this, the possible reason. There's a lot of information they're going to have to go through, a lot of claims or evidence. And let me see here. He did say he has probable cause to arrest him. Police don't issue warrants, prosecutors do. The sheriff's office finished their investigation, sent the entire file to the Chelan County prosecutor's office. It's now sitting with the prosecutor, who has to decide whether to file formal criminal charges. Only after the charges are filed can a judge sign an arrest warrant. So I don't know if that's coming down the line or not. He does have a court hearing coming up. That's going to be interesting. Yeah. So let's talk about Jamie here too, right? Magnolia. And I had mentioned this. I've casually talked about this when I was doing the gardening. I was getting bombarded. Yo, JLR, what do you think about JLR Magnolia? I had heard about this story. Phillips herself has a colorful past, having been accused in 2017 of fabricating a story about being impregnated by Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore as a teenager, which she tried to get the Washington Post to run. Phillips told the Post, before we get to this, let's stick with this part. this whole thing. So the whole story, well, I don't know the whole story. The bits and pieces that I could see, there was a whole article written about it. Apparently, she was working with Project Veritas. I don't know if you guys ever heard about that group. James O'Keefe, kind of legendary group. And this was in 2017. I guess they had a sting, a Roy Moore sting incident operation. And during Roy Moore's Alabama Senate race, a woman named Jamie, that you see right here, contacted the Washington Post. She claimed as a teenager in the 1990s, Roy Moore had gotten her pregnant. And she had an abortion. And it wasn't true. The Post interviewed her multiple times, but her story quickly fell apart under basic fact-checking, inconsistent details, timeline issues, etc. Reporters followed her after one meeting and watched her walk straight into the Project Veritas headquarters in New York. Project Veritas is known for undercover operations, sting operations, targeting journalists and left-leaning organizations. They use hidden cameras and false identities to try to catch people doing embarrassing things. So the Post published a major story calling it a failed attempt to plant a fake sensational story with them. So I guess she was lying about the guy, but trying to plant a fake story. Project Veritas initially denied it was a sting, but later sent an internal email to supporters admitting their investigative journalist had blown her cover. And then she was caught on video. There's a video interview. Phillips herself was caught on video by the Post during the confrontation. So she did reply today. Let's see, where is it at? She made a post today, which I was surprised to see because I didn't think she was going to comment. I didn't even think maybe she had control of this account anymore. Okay. And she said, I wanted to acknowledge that I'm obviously aware that the Chelan County Domestic Violence Police report from Christmas Day and my protection order case have come to light. The New York Post reached out to me yesterday, so we're going to get to that more. She spoke with the New York Post, I guess. She answered some questions. They had a story they were working on. The police report itself, or speaks for itself, this has been extremely traumatizing beyond words. And withdrawing completely felt like the safest way for me to begin the long journey of healing. I've had the support of family, police, doctors, advocates, and my therapist. Being thrown into the role of survivor has been the hardest thing I've ever endured. The impact this has had in my life is immeasurable, and I know it's not something that will ever fully go away. I know the road ahead will be long, but I'm taking it one day at a time, or taking it one day and one task at a time. I want to assure everyone that I'm safe now. I did surgery to repair my nose, and it appears to have been successful, but I won't know for several months if further treatment is needed. I do know I'm very lucky to be alive, and I don't take that for granted. Rio is safe, so Rio's the dog. I think the dog, yeah, right? Is also safe and has been with me through everything. He was not harmed, aside from being exposed to the violence. I don't intend to rehash this publicly, but I do want to say that I'm incredibly grateful for the support I received and for the many people who have reached out over these last couple of months out of concern for my well-being. And so she commented under that a few side notes. I always knew Nerdy Addict was a pretty good journalist, but I was astonished when he somehow figured everything out and broke the story a few days ago. My honest opinion about this particular part here, when I saw this, I don't believe she was astonished that he somehow, just my opinion, I don't know this for sure. I feel like she knew this was going to come out. I like, not maybe back then, but like there was somebody the nights before sending this link out everywhere. I don't know, and then Nerdy was in contact with her brother. So I don't know that this was just like out of the blue, like, oh, okay, now it's all out and stuff like that, Thank you, Matt Blank, for giving me the heads up. I hope to tell my story on my own terms one day, but Nerdy beat me to it. My hat's off to you, sir. As I was blindsided as I have to say I was impressed. You are very thorough. This to me also, again, I'm just speculating. I'm just speculating. I don't know if this, because since Nerdy and JLR have been beefing for a long time, I don't know if this is kind of like to piss off JLR or something, or kind of, I don't know. I disabled the app back in January during the acute shock phase, and that's why I've never changed my profile. Working on it now. They changed the DM part of this app since then, so if you're someone who has DM'd me since then, I haven't seen it. I'm not ashamed of my time at Project Veritas, and I never will be. I love my Project Veritas family, and I always will. One outlandish failed operation over the years of great work is part of the job of an undercover journalist. Over the last month, I've been working on starting my own business, and I'll have more to say on that later. So this was her official reply. And the one thing that I'm seeing a lot of people hold on her, I don't know if JLR's lawyer could bring this up and try to be like, well, she fabricated the story back then in 2017. I mean, it was a long time ago. I understand I guess that's what Project Veritas does, but I just wonder if this is something maybe they could try to be like, she's making this up about me too. I mean, the thing is, the injuries are pretty significant that's being reported. And we saw a black eye, unless you're saying she hit herself and did all this damage to herself. I don't know, I really don't know. And so she continues. I mean, if you guys want, I could play the interview she did with the Washington Post, but was it Washington Post? Let me see here. Yeah, it was sent to me the other day. There was a whole article that was done back then. This is the original. Well, this is one of the articles. Washington Post says it failed apparent sting by James O'Keefe activist group. I mean, we can read the article real quick. This is what everybody's talking about. When people are saying she lied before, she lied about a man and the pregnancy stuff. This is what people are talking about, because people might see this online and not really know or not sure what's going on. So this is what people are talking about. Again, this is 2017. Okay. And so the Washington Post says a woman who approached reporters with a story about an Alabama Senate candidate, Roy Moore, got her pregnant as a teen, actually appears to be part of an undercover sting operation run by conservative activist James O'Keefe. Suspicions, the newspaper says, were confirmed when the woman was spotted walking into the offices of Project Veritas on Monday. O'Keefe, who founded Project Veritas, is countering the newspaper's story with his own narrative, releasing secretly recorded videos of the Post employees that he says proves how shockingly one-sided the editorial team was. O'Keefe and the Post have put out dueling videos of a brief interview outside of his offices on Monday, in which the conservative activist seeks to turn the tables and to question Post reporter Aaron Davis, who reportedly seeks O'Keefe whether the woman works for him. A bunch of mumbo jumbo kind of. The Post has also published video of one of its reporters speaking to the woman who claimed to be Moore's victim. In it, reporter Stephanie McCrumman, who says she was working for and tells her, if there's anything you want to say about why you're here and why you came to be sitting here, I would really like to know your story as well. I can play this. I mean, I don't know, it's 10 minutes long, kind of long, but let's see. Post reporters witnessed the woman, Jamie Phillips, walking into the offices of Project Veritas. Okay. Let's move on.
Media movement to combat the lies and deceit of the liberal MSM. I'll be using my skills as a researcher and fact checker to help our movement. So I just wanted to ask you if you could explain this, and I also wanted to let you know, Jamie, that this is being recorded and video recorded.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking to take a job last summer in New York, but it fell through. So I ended up not taking the job.
Okay. So, but you were interested in doing this job? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was going to be with the Daily Caller.
The Daily Caller.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it didn't. It ended up falling through, so I wasn't able to do it. Because my fiance was relocating to New York, so I was looking for a job to go with him. And it didn't work out. So I ended up just staying doing what I was doing at the time.
And what was your interest in working for the Daily Caller?
I like their stories, and I thought that I would be good at doing research and stuff like that. Because just based on my background with the mortgage business, like that's pretty much all I do all day is like research things. You know, so
yeah.
But it didn't plan out for me. So
yeah. So okay, so you tried to get the job, but you didn't get the job. You're saying?
No, I went through the interview process and I thought that it was going to go well. Like I had a good feeling about it, but then like at the last minute, I didn't get the job. So.
Okay. And so who was the person that you interviewed with?
It was a lady named Kathy.
What was her last name?
Johnson.
Kathy Johnson. And where was it?
In the New York area. But I don't know like why we are going into all this yet. Well, I haven't even agreed to go through with the story yet.
Yeah. So, well, since you contacted us, you reached out to us. We went ahead and did some background information, background checking. You know what I mean on some of the things that you had told Beth about your story, and so this came up, and so I just want to understand what that's about and why you would want to work for the Daily Caller. And I'm also, frankly, want to know if you're who you might be working for now.
I still do mortgage work.
Well, it's a little bit of a issue there, and I just want.
So this lady pressed her, and they knew the jig was up. The jig was up with this. The Post says the apparent sting operation began with an email that was sent to reporter Beth in the morning after she and McCrumman wrote a November 9th story. The breaking news that several women said Moore, a Republican running for the U.S. Senate, pursued them as teenagers, including one who said he had sexually assaulted her when she was 14 and he was 32. So, in separate interviews, Reinhard and McCrumman Phillips shared a false story about an alleged sexual relationship in 1992 with Moore. In separate interviews with Reinhard and McCrumman Phillips that led to an abortion when she was 15. The Post says this newspaper adds that Phillips also tried to get the journalist to say whether her allegations might sink the political prospects of Moore, who left a controversial career as a judge to embark on what has become an even more controversial senatorial campaign. All right. So I wanted to show that too, because it actually does come. I'm not victim shaming, so I don't want to hear that bullshit in the chat too. With these people victim shaming. I'm presenting everything that's being talked about. Okay. And two things could be true, one or two things could not be true. Yes, she could have did this in the past, and this could still have happened to her. She doesn't mean she's lying about this now. She was working with an undercover sting operation. But I'm presenting what's out there. This is the conversations that people are having online, all over. People are bringing this up. And so I'm trying to give context about this 2017 incident that Magnolia herself, where is it at? Magnolia herself mentioned here. Where's it at? I'm not ashamed of my Project Veritas time. So what are you're gonna go to comment under her shit too and say she's victim shaming herself? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? My hope is that, like, I don't know, people rewatch this after and be like, oh, I understand what this is, or I understand what that is, people might see this and not understand what she's talking about. Project Veritas and I will never be. I love my PV family. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's important just to mention this is what people are trying to use against her. I don't know if JLR's people, the attorney, will try to use it against her, But anyway, so Phillips told the Post, I was duped for so long. He portrayed himself as if he had changed and turned his past around, but that's not real, she says. He's always been the same way he's always been. He's a fraud. The only thing he cares about is money. He doesn't care about the cases. He loves when there's a mass shooting. He gets excited because he knows he'll get a lot of views or a lot of money. Rich has reinvented himself as JLR Investigates, a YouTube channel which has grown to more than 500,000 subscribers. Around 3 years ago, after a lifetime of frauds, fakeries, and manipulation, he describes himself as a fearless investigator and inserts himself into high-profile investigations to live stream. Most recently, he has been broadcasting from Tucson, Arizona, outside of the house of Nancy Guthrie. He's basically a big celebrity in the true crime community. Fellow true crime streamer Alina Smith told the Post. He's been out there nonstop. He has been out there. Riches has gained a reputation for being one of the most persistent streamers, filming up to 15 hours a day, responding to questions in real time, and accepting money from viewers to complete tasks such as zooming in on certain parts of the crime scene. The more subscribers he gets, the more profitable his YouTube videos become, regardless of whether the information he reports is fact or fiction. That's why he was in Tucson for over a month. It's easy money for him because he just sets up a camera and lets it go, Phillips added. Other streamers have estimated the Post that he makes up to $30,000 a week with his persistent boots on the ground approach. I think he made way more than that, but his audience is likely unaware of how sinister his past is. In 2019, he openly admitted to being a troll and fabricating highly sensitive information after he was called out for pretending to be Jewish, giving a backstory at a Trump rally, a fake backstory. I don't think the long-term consequences as far as disinformation or offending anyone. Wait, what? I don't think about the long-term consequences as far as disinformation or offending anyone, Richard said, I guess, to the Huffington Post in 2019. I mean, he has experience with media. He's been in the news. He's been talked with media. You know, he's been locked up before. You know, I guess this is not really, it's not like his first rodeo, you know, being under fire or taking heat and stuff like that. The disinformation that I want, I can put out there. The next mass shooting, before they identify the shooter, I can set up like 10 Twitter accounts looking like news sites and then create whoever I want as a shooter. What? Vulnerable, gullible people will see that. They think it's from a news site and then they will copy it and tweet it out. Interesting. Rich's operation has drawn criticism from authorities and journalists alike, as he is part of a growing ecosystem of YouTube crime scene streamers who monetize tragedy by broadcasting active investigations. However, Rich's notoriety long predates his live stream era. I think this is kind of rich, though, coming from the media, because they were standing right next to him the whole time out there, you know, all this time streaming and covering the same thing. I mean, we know about all this stuff with his past, you know, the federal prison fraud ring stuff. I guess he was convicted or indicted in 2003. Indictment claimed that co-conspirators used stolen financial data to obtain money and property through fraudulent transactions. Riches was arrested in Florida in February 2003 and brought to Texas to face charges, entering a guilty plea to conspiracy and wire fraud counts in September that year. A federal judge sentenced him to 125 months in prison for wire fraud and 60 months for conspiracy to run concurrently, along with $92,000 in restitution to victims. Okay. The most litigious inmate. I've heard of so many different stories. He sued everybody under the sun, allegedly. While incarcerated, Riches flooded federal courts with thousands of bizarre, frivolous lawsuits targeting politicians, companies, public figures, and celebrities, including one against the Kardashian family for allegedly participating in the Al-Qaeda training. Wow. Those cases were quickly dismissed. The sheer volume of Riches' lawsuits, estimated over 4,000, ultimately forced federal prosecutors to seek an unprecedented nationwide injunction against him to prevent him from suing. I've always heard about that. I don't know if it was true. He was also banned from having paper in his cell. In response, Riches went on a hunger strike. I heard about that too. And warden had to force feed him through a tube. Holy shit. The Sandy Hook hoax I've heard a lot about too in the past. After being released in 2012, Riches returned to Pennsylvania on a supervised release, but almost immediately found himself back in legal trouble. He traveled to Newton, Connecticut 3 days after Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre that left 20 first graders and 6 staff members dead. He attended a memorial where he falsely claimed to be the uncle of gunman Adam Lanza, according to local authorities and court filings. He said he was Jonathan Lanza and made unsubstantiated claims about the shooter's mental health, which were quickly debunked. I've heard about that too in the past. 3 days later, Riches posted a YouTube video of the trip, which he attempted to approach Lance's home before being stopped by a police blockade. He said, "We're truth seekers and we're going to find out why Adam was mind controlled and manipulated to go in and allegedly shoot little kids in Sandy Hook Elementary School